Well, thanks for your company here. Starting today, consumers will pay about 15% more for the use of water. This is according to a statement issued by the Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission. And the Commission says it's in line with the automatic adjustment formula. The Commission also announced a 51.73% in electricity tariff. However, its implementation has been deferred due to the ongoing load shedding program. It, however, decided to implement that of water due to the various water expansion projects in the country. Meanwhile, members of the public have been reacting to the increase.
Well, it is 55 years after Ghana became a republic. Now, today being a holiday, one expects to have good news. But the sad thing is that we are not hearing good news as fuel and utility bills have once again increased. Now we're trying to find out from Ghanaians exactly what they make of this increase.
Thank you very much. My name is Gabriel Tete. I live at Teshi, and it's true because the utility bills and the fare is too much. And increments of, our fuel and electricity bill is killing us. This morning when I'm coming from Teshi in the car, the mate's supposed to take us 2 cities, but it's taking us about 2 cities, 20 pesos. In nearly 10 fights in the car. We're almost annoyed because it shouldn't be so. We are asking, where's the nation going right now?
My name is Francis Kwachienchi. I think that the government is being insensitive to the plight of Ghanaians. I mean, if you look at the economic crisis now, you can't just increase fuel and, electricity, utilities, just like that, I think the government should actually tone down and then listen to the general public. Yeah, that's what I can say.
You think that deregulation is not helping us?
It's not helping at all, especially when private companies are allowed to manage this fuel issue. It wouldn't help us. And looking at the fact that our salaries are not being increased, monthly or even yearly, you can't afford it.
I don't think the utility hikes as a very good news at all. Looking at the situation, already we have energy crisis where we are unable to get enough production of energy. We are unable to get electricity in our various homes, in our various jobs. Things are not really working well. Then you say you tell us today that you are increasing everything. What about the worker? What do you expect the person to do? It must go with something. The ability to afford the price hikes is what I'm talking about over here. It's not a good news at all, and I think it goes to everybody. Any worker, anybody in the country wouldn't take this easy at all, especially when recently fuel prices were increased. Now coming together, it is not really working well. It is not going well for us at all. It is never a good news. It will never be a good news. The government should look at it. Whoever is concerned should look at it very well because people are really being affected. It's going to affect the finances. It's going to affect the purchasing power of everybody.
And I think the increment is a very negative thing to happen to Ghanaians, especially today is a holiday. People are supposed to be having fun, but due to this, a lot of people won't be happy because, if your utility bills keep going high, how can you be happy and your salary is still the same? How are you going to be able to take care of your family and your needs and also afford these high bills? So I think it's a very negative thing to happen to Ghanaians, and especially it being a Republic Day, where we are supposed to hear good news, but we keep hearing bad news.
Well, now, Chairman of the Convention People's Party, Samia Iyaba Nkrumah, has been reacting also to the increase in utility tariff and the general economic hardship facing Ghanaians, which she has attributed to wrong policies.
Today, for instance, we understand that transport fares are going up. fuel prices are going up, electricity tariffs are going up, water tariffs are going up, the import tariffs are also going up. A lot of things are all going up. Increments here, increments there, and insurance has also got, third-party insurance has also gone up. And we're not talking about 10%, 5%. We're talking about 20%, 300%, 500%.
And it will get even harder. But do we, as the people of Ghana, do we understand why this is happening? Do we understand this is a result of the economic path we've chosen? Do we understand that we are saying yes to the IMF? We are not blaming the IMF because this is their job. They have to make money for their creditors. But it is up to us to decide. Do the people of Ghana understand why we are in this situation? We have abandoned an independent economic path, independent decision making, and it is not paying off. So let us reclaim what is ours. The useless protocols and agreements we've been signing, they are not creating wealth for our people. And if you can't create wealth for your people by being more productive, by resorting to industry, manufacturing, to producing more, it's the only thing that will make us better off and create jobs. Ghana must produce more. Why were we ready to have a gold refinery? In 1966, our gold refinery at Takwa was 95% complete. This is what our republic status was giving us. Today, do we have a gold refinery? 50 years on, do we have a gold refinery? We don't. And why is that? It's because we've abandoned our own plans and succumbed to plans by others who don't understand our specific conditions. So let us reclaim decision making for ourselves. Let us reclaim decision making. I think what we need to understand clearly is that these hardships are partly, to a large extent, self-inflicted. So let us act like a sovereign people who can make decisions for ourselves. It will require sacrifices, but we are already sacrificing, like you are saying, with the increments and hikes in prices of everything. But at least you know you are sacrificing for a better tomorrow. You are not sacrificing to be condemned to a life of sacrifice and deprivation.
Now, the new chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Charlotte Osei, is promising to push through reforms to deepen the credibility of Ghana's electoral process. At a brief ceremony at the Flagstaff House, Charlotte Osei took the oath to officially replace Dr. Kwadwo Afari-Gyan.
Charlotte Osei submitted her resignation letter to President Mahama as the boss of the National Commission for Civic Education yesterday. She was offered to head Ghana's Electoral Commission last week following the retirement of Dr. Kwadwo Afari-Gyan. Charlotte Osei's appointment has received mixed reactions from all spheres of the society. While women groups continue to applaud President Mahama for choosing a woman to head such a sensitive position, others have also taken him on for flouting an ongoing court case seeking to determine whether the president alone can appoint the chairman of the Electoral Commission. Today, in the presence of chairmen from the New Patriotic Party, People's National Convention and Convention People's Party, President Mahama spoke about the consultations which went on before Charlotte Osei was appointed. President Mahama reminded the EC boss of the Herculean task ahead and the need for her to excel like her predecessor, Dr. Kwadwo Afari-Gyan.
On behalf of all Ghanaians and on my own behalf, I wish to thank the Council of State for the sound advice I received in the appointment of the new EC chairperson. Mrs. Charlotte Osei comes to the EC with very solid credentials in both legal practice and public service. While congratulating you on your appointment to what is a rather tough position, let me remind you with all humility that you're stepping into some very big shoes. Dr. Kwadwo Afari-Gyan has proven over the last 2 decades or so that he is a colossus when it comes to elections and electoral systems. and has, despite whatever grievances we as politicians might have expressed against him, either in government or in opposition, distinguished himself creditably and contributed immensely to the stability of our democracy.
Charlotte Osei told President Mahama she's conscious of the weight of expectations and will fall on the experience and cooperation of other commissioners to succeed.
I'd also like to take the opportunity to thank my predecessors for the strong foundation they have built at the Electoral Commission. Now it is my hope that together with my colleagues at the EC, we will continue to build and strengthen those structures towards a stronger, more independent, objective and impartial commission. We will work hard to continue the process of internal reforms and ensure a more effective and collaborative service delivery platform, and thereby increase the confidence of all our stakeholders in the institution and in Ghana's democracy. In that respect, I am counting on the support of members of the Commission, the management and staff of the Electoral Commission and the entire nation. From what I've gathered from all the messages I've received, the collective desire of our people is that as chair of the Electoral Commission, I act with conviction and conscience, understanding that it is service to God and country above all else.
Seth Kwame Boateng for Joy News.
Now, former chairman of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Kwadwo Afari-Gyan, is being honored at the Flagstaff House. He served the country in that capacity for over 2 decades. He was succeeded by Charlotte Osei, who you just saw, and was also sworn in on Tuesday. Also, doctors who volunteered to offer their service in Ebola-affected countries during the outbreak months ago have also been honored. We'll bring you details of this from the Flagstaff House in a bit when we get in touch with our presidential correspondent. Meanwhile, we'll go up to the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi, where President Mahama has asked the Ministry of Works and Housing to dispatch some equipment to begin desilting and subsequent expansion of the Abuabo No. 1 bridge and storm drain there. The storm drain has been choked with sand and solid waste, forcing it to overflow at the least rainfall. The president also assured residents of a lasting solution to the perennial floods when he visited the Abuabo No. 1 and Angloga sections of the drain. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
Residents of Abuabo lined up the streets patiently in wait for the arrival of the president. As they waited, they had at least one expectation ringing in their minds.
We need the government's help in this area. If we do not receive help, we will not vote.
The presence of the military was a visible sign that the president was almost there. The crowd was thrown into a state of jubilation when the president finally arrived. Some residents thought the day was a memorable one, while others thought otherwise.
Tell him the way for the water to pass, and the bridge too is not as good as it should be. Have you seen? Even when the bridge was not, done like this, when it was not constructed like this, the flood was not worse like it is today.
President Mahama first inspected the Abuabo No. 1 section of the storm drain. He called for the desilting and expansion of the Abuabo No. 1 storm drain and bridge to curb future floods.
Same thing happened at Accra, and a lot of properties got destroyed. We discovered the cause of the floods to be the choking of the drains. We are making efforts to dredge the drains in Accra, and same will be done here.
Some relief items were also distributed to the flood victims.
It is the responsibility of the government to distribute relief items. The NADMO officials will see to it that victims will get their share.
The president later visited Angloga Junction, where some victims of Saturday's floods were still picking up the pieces of what was left of their properties.
Let's go back to the Flagstaff House, where a number of doctors have been honored for their support at the height of the Ebola outbreak here in some West African countries. Alongside Dr. Kojo Afarijan, former electoral commissioner, will also be honored at the Flagstaff House. Gifty and Apia has joined us from the Flagstaff House with further details. Hello, Gifty.
Hi, Kamini.
Now, how many of these doctors have been honored?
Well, we're talking about 43 people in all, but these are not all doctors. These are health workers. So we have a mixture of persons within the health sector who have been honored. They received national honors of gold medals. But the high point, I must say, of today's ceremony is, of course, Dr. Kojo Afarijan, who's bowing out of the Electoral Commission. And he was conferred with State Honor Companion of the Order of the Star of Ghana. That's State Honor Companion of the Order of the Star of Ghana. And if you recall, he has received one Order of the Volta already. So this will definitely be a second one, but that's different, which is the Star of Ghana, and the other one was the Order of the Volta. So that was, it was a very solemn occasion, no speeches, just conferment of awards and reading of citations that have been prepared in honor of these persons. That's those who have been at the heart of fighting Ebola, and Dr. Kojo Afarijan here at the Flagstaff House.
Well, thank you very much, Gifty. Gifty and Apia joined us from the Flagstaff House, where Dr. Kojo Afarijan has been honored with the Order of the Star of Ghana. Now, the Ghana Bar Association and 3 other top members of the bar have filed a suit at the Supreme Court seeking to nullify recent appointments by President Mahama to the highest court of the land. The GBA, together with its president and Amegache, National Secretary Justin Amenuvo and Frank Beecham, the immediate past president of the association, insists the appointment of Justices Yao Apeu and Gabriel Puaman to the court did not follow due process. A legal practitioner with knowledge of the suit, Yao Apeu, explains to Joy News the plaintiffs are accusing President Mahama of disregarding the advice of the Judicial Council and failing to comply with constitutional provisions preventing or pertaining to the appointment of justices of the Supreme Court.
We just taken a declaration from the Supreme Court, and when you read further, it is interesting to note that they're saying that, in fact, there was an instance recently where 7 persons were nominated, and in fact, based on that nomination, they went through various processes. And actually, the council advised the president to appoint all those 7 persons to the Court of Appeal. But they're saying that the president only appointed 2 of them and rejected the 5. And for them, that constitutes non-compliance with the constitutional provision. And then also in the case of the Supreme Court, they are saying that they nominated 3 persons, but eventually other people were appointed. In the case of the Court of Appeal, we are saying that they pick only 2 out of the 7. But in the case of the Supreme Court, I understand that the president may not have chosen those who were recommended to him.
But Communications Minister Dr. Omane Boama says the president has not breached any aspect of the Constitution of Ghana, though the plaintiffs say the president sidelined some of the nominees recommended by the Judicial Council. Dr. Omane Boama hinted the other appointments may be made at a later date.
Even though I'm not a lawyer, at this stage I could rest my case. The fact that the Judicial Council had His Lordship Justice Yao Apeu's name and His Lordship Justice Gabriel Puaman's name in the list that was submitted to the president makes the case. There is nothing unlawful about what the president has done. The president has not indicated that this is the end of the appointments that he is making to the Supreme Court. Nobody, absolutely nobody, can force the president to make appointments except when he decides to do so clearly, obviously, consistent with the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, which is a living and an organic matter. And that is why I have said that
I would have been very surprised, and I'm still surprised that the president of the Ghana Bar Association will go on this route. But we wait to see what will pan out in court. To the best of my knowledge, these two names were submitted to the president. If he had any preferences, he should wait until he becomes the president of the Republic of Ghana.
Today is Republic Day in Ghana, and prayer marathon is being held across the country to save the country from its ill health at the moment. I'll bring you details of that when I return. Don't go away.